this summer and now looking forward, there are some difficult decisions ahead. I think that's the best way to phrase this. Nobody wanted this team to be in a spot where you're thinking about you have to shed a player or two to get some cap space, to flexibility to change the look of your team. Nobody was hoping this would be the case. But these are difficult spots and decisions that the team is now in, including the expansion draft. Now, they're going to have to expose a certain amount of players that Seattle will get a crack at. Did not intend to do that. Crack at. July 21st. And they'll have to name the players a lot sooner than that. But the point being here is, if the Sharks are looking for more space and opportunity, it's a fine line here. You don't want to have some of your youngest and most promising players poached, right? You also don't want to have some of your most important key veteran players poached. Maybe there's a middle ground where there's somebody who is of a higher contract value that could open up some space. I don't even want to do this right now, but it's going to happen. And part of it's bad, part of it could be bad, part of this could be good for the Sharks. There's such a fine line of this. I don't want to make it seem like this is a great thing, but I also want to point out too, it could be a bad thing for the Sharks if the wrong name off their list gets chosen. The other thing that doesn't help this group, the salary cap year after year had been going up, inching up $1 million or $2 million or a couple of million a year. It's going to stay flat again, apparently at $81.5 million. So that doesn't offer this team any more money that they could offer a new player coming in or a deal, a trade that they would make where they have to take on somebody's salary. The cap staying flat does not help the Sharks. They're already tight in it. It's a hard cap. And yeah, it's going to affect everybody, but especially with a team like the Sharks. Heavy contracts, a lot of no moves and no trade clauses. On the biggest deals, it's hard to maneuver and get around that. And then the last thing here is the draft impact delay. What I mean by that is the Sharks are going to have a top 7 pick. They're not going to have a second round pick. They will have a third, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. But the NHL is one of the most delayed draft benefits you'll see across pro sports. By that I mean, like, even in Major League Baseball, it might be 2 to 3 years you can see your top pick in the show. Certainly in basketball and in football, I mean, like, they're right there. That player is going to be part of that team that next season. But in hockey, it takes the longest time to procure these youngest players. And that is what kind of frustrates me a little bit about this. I'm excited. I realize this is how you reset a team. And by the way, whether we want to, I said reset. I know the Sharks don't want to call it a reset. I know nobody wants to consider it a reset, because a reset would be dismantling the core, everything. And it does not appear that that's going to happen or that needs to happen. So if it's a refresh, and we could nitpick about words. I think it's more the meaning that we're trying to get to here. This might take a while, though. This is my point. This draft might take a while, and next year's draft might take a while before these players are on your team for the San Jose Sharks and contributing in the fashion that you need. And by then, Logan Couture, Erik Karlsson, Tomas Hertl, Brent Burns, they're all several years older. Not going to put somebody and say, oh, they're in their prime or they're past their prime. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the delayed impact of the NHL inherently, this is great, but I think this is going to take longer than we wish.